The Anbernic RG556. Now this thing might just be the best retro handheld for under $200. That said, the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro gives it a run for its money. But this actually has a lot of features that kind of set it apart from the rest. It's got a beautiful 7-inch OLED screen that I'd say is pretty comparable to the Switch OLED. It's got this glossy plastic texture to it, ergonomic grips on the back, analog triggers, great feeling controls, great ergonomics to it. It can emulate anything from retro consoles like N64 to Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, PSP, GameCube, PS2, Wii, pretty much anything up until Xbox 360, PS3 era. That being said, when it comes to Switch emulation, this is where there's a lot of contention. Every review that I see that mentions the RG556 and Nintendo Switch emulation always says 2D titles, probably downscaled to even get a playable frame rate. Don't expect too much. So I did what any normal person would do. I tested 100 Switch games and picked 15 of my favorites to showcase today. I kept track of all the game compatibility in a modified version of the Odin 2 compatibility sheet. I combined my tests with community tests, some YouTube tests, and pretty much just put it all into one place. There's a link to that in the description below. But now, let's get into the list of my top 15 Nintendo Switch games on the RG556. Starting off at number 15, we got Haven Park. It's a super chill, cozy game. I love me some coziness. So in this game, you're a chicken on an island, and you run around, gather materials to build little campsites for some campers. It's very relaxing. The frame rate is a little choppy at times, so I like to downscale it. But this is one of those 3D Switch games that's relatively lightweight, so it actually runs pretty well. The gameplay does get a little bit repetitive after a while, but that's something with these cozy games where you either like it or you don't. And I actually kind of enjoyed it. It was very relaxing. So that's why it gets number 15. At 14, we got Steamworld Dig 2. This is a classic Metroidvania that's a sequel to Steamworld Dig 1. Pretty much improves on everything. I originally played this back on the PS Vita, and I've been having a lot of fun replaying it. It's pretty much Metroidvania to the bones. It doesn't necessarily do anything too outside of the box, but what it does do, it does a very good job at doing it. It runs at a consistent 60 FPS, and the colors absolutely pop on the screen, so I highly recommend checking this out. This one's really fun. Number 13 is Marble It Up Ultra. Now, I did not expect this to run this good. It plays and looks amazing. I downscaled it to 0.75x to get it to run at a consistent, 40 to 60 FPS. Luckily, this is one of those games that when the frames do dip down to like 40, 45, it doesn't slow down the game. It kind of does frame skips instead. So I barely noticed any slowdown when I was playing. This is just a really fun arcade game. At number 12, we have an absolute classic first-person puzzle game, Portal 1. It plays super well on the RG556. You're going to be hovering around 30 FPS, but this is a very smooth experience. Unfortunately, Portal 2 did not run too well. It actually crashed on one emulator and had graphic glitches on the others, but Portal 1 is still worth playing through. At number 11, we have one that is very dear to my heart. I discovered Lil Gator Game when I was trying out some cozy games for an upcoming video, and it quickly turned into one of my favorite games on the platform. This game is the ultimate chill, run around, no consequences, just have fun game. Essentially, you're on an island and you're helping out people so that you can recruit them into your ultimate playground area. There's a lot of really fun mechanics in this game. It's just super chill if you're into this genre, and it runs great at 0.75x resolution. So downscaled a little bit, but it sort of plays into the cel-shaded aesthetic of the game. If you've never played Hollow Knight, you have to play this one. Please. One of the best Metroidvanias, if not the best one of all time. If anyone mentions like best Metroidvanias, this is definitely on the list. This is pretty much perfected gameplay. The only reason that it's this low at number 10 is because I already played it on the Switch. And it also only runs well in Skyline Edge. So you kind of have to like switch emulators if you want to play this specifically. Personally, I just want to be in one emulator, but you know, it's Hollow Knight. There's also an Android port, so if you want to play it that way, I think you can play like an earlier build. It's kind of like a community port, I think, but it runs amazing in Skyline. You're going to be getting like 50 to 60 FPS at native resolution, so definitely worth giving it a play. In that same vein of genre-defining games, we have Celeste. This is an amazing platformer. It actually started on the Pico 8 and then got fully built out into this amazing platformer that actually has the Pico 8 version inside of it. The controls are hit miss with the analog stick especially, but the screen looks beautiful, so I kind of go back and forth between using the analog stick and the D-pad depending on the day. Either way, it's Celeste. Can't go wrong. At number 8, we got Sea of Stars. I've never played this one before. This is my first time playing it, and it pretty much runs perfectly, and it looks beautiful. I love how this game looks and how the colors pop on the screen. The combat's actually pretty interesting. It kind of has button-timed hits and defenses. Then there's also like a bit of exploration. Overall, I put a bunch of hours into this game. The RG556 is a great way to play this one. Number 7, Dave the Diver. This is an S tier game. It's so well crafted with tons of humor and addictive gameplay loops. The devs nailed it, and it looks and plays awesome. You're gonna be getting like 30 FPS on average, slightly less when there's a lot on screen. The gameplay switches between this underwater spearfishing, treasure hunt kind of thing, and a restaurant sim. I'm not a fan of restaurant sims usually, but this one is pretty solid. I love the back and forth gameplay loops that it has going on. Fez is an all-time classic to me. I played it on PC back in like 2012, and I played it on the PS Vita, I played it on the Switch, and now I'm playing it again on the RG556. It's a really chill exploration platformer with a super innovative primary mechanic of 2D to 3D switching, so everywhere you go has 4 ways to look at it. These puzzles are really fun to try and figure out and solve. I love the open-ended platforming exploration. I actually kind of like how there's not an immediate goal. You kind of make your own adventure. This runs at native resolution, 60 frames locked. Great way to play Fez. And at top 5, we're starting off with a short hike. This is one of my favorite chill games. I played it on the Switch, and I'm replaying it on the RG556. And I've got a few hours in this one, as you can see from the feathers. In this game, you're on an island, once again, and you kind of run around, collect feathers, do different tasks for some different people. You kind of make your own like adventure in a way. As with most of the other games on this list, it runs and looks amazing. So check out A Short Hike if you're into those kinds of games. Oh baby, we got Balatro. I love this game so much, it's so good. This game I was hooked on for so long. Pretty much as soon as I got the RG556, I ported Balatro over from the PC and played it for the first time on this device. And something clicked in my brain. I love how you essentially try to break the game in order to win. So when I saw that it was also on the Switch, I had to try it out on Sudachi, and it runs perfectly. I'm not into like poker or Texas Hold'em or whatever, but this is easy to pick up, and I put so many hours in this game. Gotta recommend it. It's gotta take number 4. It's Picross, baby. I can't get enough of this one. I just can't get enough. You can't stop me. I'm gonna keep playing Picross on every fucking device I can run it on. So number 3, it's gotta be Picross. It's a puzzle game I'm always coming back to. It's like a way more interesting Sudoku, and the colors obviously look amazing on the RG556. I know a lot of you are gonna disagree with this being number 3, but I can't change my heart. It's number 3 in my heart. Shout out Picross. Animal Well, I bow, I bend the knee. Number 2 has to be Animal Well. The aesthetics, the puzzles, the gameplay mechanics, everything about this game is perfect. It's amazing. It has so much heart. It was made by a solo developer who poured his heart into this one. And you can tell I had so much fun playing this one. I actually beat the game after testing it, And now I'm going through doing the long game of Metroidvanias, going back and getting all the secrets and everything. And the snappy analog sticks on the RG556 actually work great on this one. Because it's two-dimensional, please do yourself a favor, play Animal well, however you can play it. Before I reveal the number one, here's an honorable mention that didn't make the top 15 list. It's gonna go to Skater XL. I was torn on what to pick for the honorable mention, but I'm giving it to Skater XL. A lot of the Switch games on the RG556 are gonna be a compromised experience, but Skater XL actually runs pretty decently. And it was a game that I came back to every few days to just mess around for like 20-30 minutes. And despite the frame dips, I was still hucking lines in this game. Now, some other contenders were Stardew Valley, Hypnospace Outlaw, and Void Bastards, but those didn't make it for one reason or another, so I'm giving it to Skater XL. Now, the number one pick for Switch emulation on the RG556 speaks for itself.
Hemming, you need to get over here, now! Attaboy, you're doing great. Kuro! God! Everyone get back!
Nah, I'm fucking with you. I'm joking. Instead, give me Persona 5. Number one is Persona 5 Royal. I love this game. I love it so much. I played it on the PS3 emulator back in the day. But man, this game rules. And it plays great on the RG556. I downscaled it a little bit to 0.75x resolution, and I was fiending to play Persona on this, and I'm so glad that it runs the way that it does. Sure, there's some occasional frame dips when you're running around and there's a lot going on, but it's Persona 5. That's why it takes number one in my heart and on my list.
Let's do this!
Here he comes! Oh. Captain Kidd!
And that's my top 15 Switch games on the RG556. I tried to include a little bit of different genres. Now, the one genre that wasn't so great was first-person games. And actually, it really came down to the analog sticks. I mean, there's a couple first-person games that ran decently, specifically Void Bastards. This is actually like a really fun arcadey shooter game, kind of like pop in, grab the stuff, pop out kind of game. And actually, it didn't make the list because of the analog sticks on this. So unfortunately, when it comes to Switch emulation, there's some games that just won't run too well, but then there's other games that just aren't great because of these cardinal locking analog sticks. They really favor north, south, east, west, so hitting diagonals or having fluid in between directions is just not ideal. But outside of that, this device flippin' rocks. I can't get enough of the screen and the ergonomic grips. Having the Odin 2 Mini just makes me want an OLED that much more. So this is definitely a device that I'm gonna keep around and occasionally do some Switch emulation on it, but also do a bunch of other emulation, PS2, GameCube, Wii, whatnot. So that's it for my top 15 Switch games. Like and subscribe if you liked it, hit dislike if you didn't. Drop a comment if you want me to check out some other games. I'm around, you know? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.